Late in the evening of July 21, 2008, the Security Council of the People's Republic of Serbia announced the arrest of the Bosnian butcher. In Sarajevo, despite the dead of night, people poured out into the streets to celebrate. And car horns rang out in joy over the arrest of Radovan Karadžić.
We had been waiting for this news for a very long time.
This is very important. He has a lot of innocent blood on his hands, not just Bosniaks.
What we endured because of this man here in Sarajevo was horrific. So it is very good that such a criminal as Karadžić will be brought to justice.
He had a promising career as a psychiatrist, but he decided to play the Messiah and went into politics. He pushed the Greater Serbia idea. For him, it ended with the Hague tribunal. Far more tragic was the fate of the thousands of victims of war crimes behind which Karadžić stood. Here is a photo from the police file, dated 1984. Psychiatrist Radovan Karadžić spent a year behind bars over financial fraud. Using public funds, he built himself a villa in Sarajevo. And this was not his only scam. Money also went into his accounts for fake certificates meant to protect people from criminal charges. By the late 1980s, he went into politics. A talented spokesman became the head of the Serbian party in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which was meant to oppose the Bosniaks' ideas of independence. History mixed a highly explosive blend of cultures in the Balkans: Bosniak Muslims, Catholic Croats and Slovenes, and Orthodox Serbs. After the First World War, all of them became part of the Kingdom of Yugoslavia, where the monarch in Belgrade relied on pan-Serbian ideas. In general, the Serbs tried to copy their northern ally Russia and also dreamed of their own Balkan Empire. Belgrade flipped the Russian flag and assumed the role of a younger brother. Under this tricolor, well-known imperial tools were put to use. The invention of cultural supremacy, ethnic discrimination against neighbors, and messianism combined with a claimed right to expand borders. After World War II, Josip Broz Tito's Iron Fist cemented Yugoslavia so firmly that it could ignore the demands of communist Moscow. Serbs were encouraged to resettle in Croatia and Bosnia. Yugoslavia's communist regime paid bonuses for work in other regions and thus also reduced local patriotic impulses. The winds of major change swept across the Balkans in the late 80s after Tito's death. 6 Yugoslav republics held first free elections. Everywhere except Serbia, communists lost, and patriotic democratic forces promising independence gained the most support. Under these circumstances, Belgrade began preparing to maintain the status quo by force, with key army positions taken by Serbian generals. Local Serbs were to support the military on the ground. After Bosnia and Herzegovina declared sovereignty, Karadžić stated that Bosnian Serbs would not recognize it and would secede, claiming half of Bosniak territory. The cover for the military operation was ready.
Bosnian Serbs must be free. Independence is the most important thing. The greater numbers of Muslims is not decisive. They cannot decide our fate. Independence is our right.
Grey hair like a thatched roof and a slightly weary, indifferent gaze. Karadžić watches the shelling of the Bosnian capital. The siege of Sarajevo began in spring 1992 and became the longest in modern history, with shelling stopping only in February 1996. It was 4 long years of hell. Sarajevo held out 3 times longer than Stalingrad and a year longer than Leningrad. The mountains surrounding the 500,000 city provided a strategic advantage and convenient positions for shelling. Many mercenaries came to fight for the Yugoslav Empire, mostly from Russia. In the center is the Russian terrorist Gierkin, known for his atrocities in Slaviansk. Another extremist, today a successful Russian politician Eduard Limonov, is learning to shoot in someone else's slaughterhouse. The Serbs shelled Sarajevo with various weapons. Hospitals received wounded civilians around the clock, women, seniors, and children.
We were walking down the street, when suddenly shots were heard. I felt a blow, and something burned me here. I got up and my mother and little sister were lying there, covered in blood.
A humanitarian crisis began in the city. Food and medicine were scarce, and heating became a problem in autumn and winter. All the parks of once green Sarajevo were cut down for firewood. The most dangerous place was Sarajevo's Central Avenue, which led to the city's only source of drinking water. The area was easily covered by fire from the high-rise buildings. Serbian snipers came here to hunt. This Muslim boy was injured while walking. When his mother ran to shield him, the sniper shot her as well. People tried to cross exposed areas under the cover of peacekeepers' armored vehicles or simply ran across at their own risk. The warnings, pazi, sniper, meaning, attention, sniper, have become a common thing in Sarajevo. During the nearly 4-year siege, Serbian snipers and their mercenaries killed and wounded more than 1,000 people. 60 of them were children. The ethnic cleansing by the Serbs in Srebrenica was shocking. The Bosnian enclave was under UN protection, but even this did not stop the criminals. Dutch peacekeepers, forbidden to use weapons, withdrew from the theater of operations. A brutal hunt for Bosniaks began. Only women and small children managed to survive. However, no one could guarantee them safety amid looting and rape.
We fled under direct threat. I was with my father and my twin brother. The column of exhausted people was endless. Those who could not walk or were captured were shot. It was horrifying. I will never forget it.
In 2 weeks, nearly 8,000 Bosniaks were killed on the outskirts of Srebrenica. To stop Serbian war crimes in Bosnia, in 1995 the UN authorized the use of NATO air power. The decision was taken despite protests from the Russian delegation. NATO strike aircraft pushed the Serbs back home, and then, in exchange for easing sanctions, Belgrade was forced into remarkable changes. The leadership of Serbia renounced territorial claims to its neighbors. Yesterday's heroes, including Karadžić, were declared war criminals and placed on national and international wanted lists. Punishing war criminals became a condition for Serbia's return to international politics. Although Belgrade, counting on European bureaucracy, hoped to outsmart everyone, after all, declaring a search and actually searching are two different things. For over 10 years, The Hague turned a blind eye as Serbia openly ignored international tribunals' demands. And then the EU put forward a clear condition. Serbia would not receive the EU membership until it handed over war criminals. After weighing all the pros and cons, Belgrade decided to trade yesterday's blood-soaked heroes for today's EU benefits. 13 years after he was put on the wanted list, Karadžić was arrested by Serbia's security services. He changed his appearance. A thick beard and a grey ponytail made him look more like a yogi or Santa Claus. His alibi was backed by documents under another name and a folk healer's certificate. Karadžić lived well in Belgrade for 13 years. He rented an apartment, recalling his psychiatry degree, wrote magazine articles with advice on how to fight depression, and even toured seminars promoting alternative Oriental medicine. Despite the protests of local patriots, Belgrade quickly extradited the detainee. And he appeared before a tribunal. In The Hague, he cut his hair again and tried to claim immunity from any trial. saying that the Americans promised it if he persuaded the Serbs to lay down their arms. But the investigation established that this was false. The trial lasted 8 years. Only in 2016, the tribunal sentenced Radovan Karadžić to 40 years in prison for crimes against humanity and genocide. For the 70-year-old Bosnian butcher, this meant spending the rest of his days behind bars.